One thing about me, I love my lifestyle. I love being a lesbian. However, I am female and I am black before I'm a lesbian. See money all around me. I look like I'm the man. Yeah, but I was down and out like last week. Tell me where have you been? Yeah, came out of night and girl, don't act like I'm your man. It's so much that goes into my coming out story that I'm trying to figure out how to pull it all together in one big, trying to sum it up in one big bubble, right? It's kind of difficult. However, I'm going to do my best, so work with me. All right, so my coming out story, bits and pieces of my coming out story is in some of the videos that you guys have already watched. But I started officially dating women when I was 21 years old. As you all know, I grew up in a very small town, Prattville, Alabama, and there wasn't a whole lot of out and proud gay. I am an 80s baby, so no one was coming out. No one was waving a flag back then at all. But I knew for certain that I was different. And I knew I was different because as early as, childhood babysitter getting jealous that girls that I would play with plays with other girls instead of me, or even in high school, just me liking a girl on the softball team, and having my best friend roll with me and we stalk her. Like, I knew I liked girls, but I knew in my mind that it was wrong that I liked girl based on the old Baptist religion. So, Christianity in general tells you how bad same-sex relationships are. But just to preface that, as I got older, I started studying the Bible for myself and getting to know Christ for myself. So if you was to ask me, am I Christian? Yes, because teachings are still coming from another human being. And so you have to be careful, pretty much chew up the meat, spit out the bones. You take what resonates with you, and then you spit out everything else that doesn't. And a lot of people will call that hypocritical. But at the same time, one thing you have to understand, that you have to get to know God for yourself. And once you get to know God for yourself, you will then understand that He is love. He's still going to bless you. He still is going to, if your gift is to hear from God, then you're going to, anyone's gift is to hear from God as you get your sovereign relationship with Him and get to know Him more and more each day. But whatever your gift is, you're still going to receive your gift. God reigns on the just and the unjust. Just because I'm Christian, and even if I was with men, I will still have bad days. You understand what I'm saying? And so whatever your opinion is about me being Christian and still being married to a woman, I respect your opinion. You don't have to respect mine, but we're always going to keep it positive. Okay, you guys? So just moving the story forward. So pretty much after high school, I did continue to date guys. I talked to one guy in particular after high school, maybe two guys after high school. And then after that, I fasted. I wanted to go to God in prayer and really understand what is more in life. And I then, during my fasting, I was fasting for a while. I fasted from sodas. I fasted from sex. I fasted from relationships in general other than friendships. And I put that down at the feet of Christ as a sacrifice to really understand why I was having all of these feelings, why I couldn't really emotionally connect with guys other than friendships. Most of my friendships are male and studs. I resonate with them just a whole lot more. And so in the midst of that, I was working at Walmart, which was my second job ever. My mom had got me a job at Walmart. I went from a cashier to working in the photo lab, and pretty much one of the other stores was having some issues and sent some of their workers over, and that was my first time ever seeing studs. I grew up in Prattville, Alabama, y'all. I'm gonna keep letting y'all know, because some of y'all gonna be thinking like, girl, you was 2019 going on 2020 going on 21, girl. What? How don't you know what a stud was at that time? I didn't. I did not. And so I was trying to talk to some of my homegirls that I was really close with at the time about, I think she's cute, blah, blah, blah. But their response was kind of like, what? You know, so I just kind of started keeping it to myself because I didn't necessarily like the response. The response didn't necessarily feel good. Y'all, I do have on a dress. The response didn't necessarily feel good. Automatically, I felt like something was kind of off. And so it's two girls in particular. One's name is Stephanie and the other name is Munchkin, and I thought that was really cool. We would hang out after work, and really they just came through and just ramshacked the store. And what I mean by that, they was picking up women left and right. But at this time we were just friends, you know what I mean? Like, I really wanted to get to know them, really just taking notes, really, because I knew that they you know what I'm saying, like, they were masculine, but it resonated with me, and I don't know why, but it did. And once, you know, I sat with them, asked questions, and found out that they were lesbian and things like that, and it kind of, you know, I was more intrigued. And not so much intrigued to have sex, but intrigued to get to know more about how did they know that they were gay? How did they know that they were lesbian? How did they know, right? So we had all started hanging out, and me and Munchkin had really started going, like, spending our breaks in, like, other restaurants that was in the Shopee, and really just laughing and talking and really just developing a really dope ass friendship. And so one day I remember we were sitting in the car. I had got to work early, and I pulled in, and she had pulled up right beside me. And we were sitting in the car, and she had told me that, you know, she liked me and da 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 da. And I was like, you know, I really didn't know what that meant at the time. Like, duh, she likes you. She thinks, you know, you're cute. She wants to date you. But I was kind of thrown off because at this point, I've only felt as though women were attractive. I've never acted on it. So for someone that was female like me to tell me that they had a crush on me, I was almost lost for words. Like, I didn't know how to react, how I should react. And so it's kind of like she read that. And from, like, that point on, we just kept it copacetic. And she just continued to date me, y'all. She dated me. She brought me roses. She courted me. I don't mean date like just take me out to restaurants. This woman courted me. I don't know if any of y'all know the L word, but y'all remember how, his name is on the tip of my tongue. How, Kit. And I cannot think of that trans man's name. Aaron? I don't think Aaron. I can't think of his name. But if I find a picture, I'm going to put it I'm going to put it here, right? But how he courted Kit is how this woman courted me. She did not hit on me from other than her telling me that she liked me. After that, she felt my reservation. She didn't say shit else about it. She brought me roses. She wrote me poetry. She rubbed my feet at some point, like we were on a movie night. She rubbed my feet, and at that time she used to sell dope. And I know, incriminating people, we used to go to her connect's house and all kind of crazy shit. Me just really feeling safe, and she go pick up her little packages, and we just chill. We was just cool, right? Just ultimately cool. And she just courted me. She really threw on what men was supposed to provide: chivalry, right? Chivalry. And so one night, she even taught me how to drive on the interstate, because I did not know how to drive on the interstate. I used to go the long way around, and she taught me how to drive on the interstate. So I drove to her house one night, and we just sat in the car. We talked from, I would say, 8 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the morning, and time would just pass us by. When I tell you, just pass us by, and us spending time like that, I experienced my third female kiss. But this time, the kiss was passionate. This time, the kiss was kind of almost earth-shattering. And I was just like, yeah. Yeah. This is just not... These feelings that I've had all these years are just not feelings of me being weird and crazy. However, after this, I did back up from her, and I did pray about it. I prayed hard. I cried and I prayed. I cried and I prayed. I stopped answering this woman's phone calls and everything, because everything that I felt about this woman, I was supposed to have towards a man from what I was told. And I cried and I prayed. I was in the biggest tormented battle with myself, you guys. And the worst thing a person can ever experience is self-torment. Oh my God. And so I was just like, God, why do I like this woman? Why am I feeling these things? Everything that she can do, a man can do, and they got real ping. I was just like, why am I mean, I'm telling you guys, how I talk to God is how I cry out. I'm telling you, because I just felt as though everything that I experienced was wrong. It was just wrong. It was wrong. I was so depressed because I really did like her. I really did like her, but I just could not shake how she made me feel. And it was nothing sexual, just complete chivalry. That's it. And I remember I had my first wet dream of my life when I pulled away from that woman. I've never had wet dreams in my life until I was pulling away from that woman. It felt like I knew I couldn't fight it. I couldn't fight it. And so we talked. I was crying. I was telling her about what I was experiencing, telling her about me praying and all this kind of stuff. And she kissed me, and that was my first time ever receiving head from a woman, and I cried. I cried, y'all. I cried like a baby. And, she did that like a few times, and I wanted to ask her, how do then these questions started coming up. How do you please a woman, right? And so we just talked, and she would never let me do anything to her. So moving forward from that situation, we dated for 3 years, and a whole lot happened during that time in my life. And I ended up having to move out from my parents' house, and we got our own apartment, and we were together for 3 years. It was a great relationship. I stopped working. That was the first time I've ever had someone else take care of me. And it was a pretty good relationship. Her mom was phenomenal. The reason why I have a love for Asian culture and Asian food is because her mom took me in and kind of like wrapped me up, and she raised me just like if I was Asian. And so it was a great experience. Of course, every relationship have tough times. I did end up ending that relationship in cheating, because hindsight being 2020, because I was new to the lifestyle, and from her perspective, I was a straight girl that was dating a stud, right? So she really sheltered me from the lesbian or gay lifestyle. I never been to a gay club, never been to a gay bar, never was around other gay people other than her and Stephanie at the time. And so when I left Prattville Walmart, went to Wetumpka Walmart, right? I met other gay people, and it was up and it was stuck, okay? My first gay homeboy. I love gay men, y'all. Gay men love me and I love them. Baby, just beautiful. And I end up, unfortunately, cheating in that relationship. I have honestly been the cheater in most of my relationships towards my coming out story, because I felt like I had been sheltered so much. And once a world opened up to me that I didn't necessarily know about, I was full steam ahead. At that point, I still never been to a gay club until I started working at Hyundai, which is a automobile plant in Alabama, and a lot of the guys there were super cool. And I went to my first gay club. My first gay club, I met friends. At that point, that relationship had ended, so I ended up moving in with my granny at the time, and it was a lot of things going on with my family at the time. So I had met a guy from school, and he was just like, well, if you having trouble, I got a big old house. You can come and stay with me. And so I stayed with my friend Jeremy for a long time, y'all. We had so much fun. All the gay boys taught me how to dress, taught me how to wear heels, taught me how to do my makeup, just took me under their wing. And at that time, I just dated and really tried to figure out who I was. And then I got into my first serious relationship, my off and on 6-year relationship that I was telling you guys about, which she did the same thing. She courted me. Really, she was another stud. She courted me, she took care of me, worked if I wanted to, and just really loved me until the end, towards the last 3 years of our relationship, where it got hella crazy. And it was really crazy. So when people tell you that, oh, you must be gay because you couldn't make it work with a man, or you can't find a man, or whatever, my most craziest relationships have been with women. This lifestyle is not for the faint at heart. So when you have people who aren't making it work with their heterosexual norms, you coming over to this side, it's not for the weak at heart, because you have to think it's two people that's twice as slick, that's twice as emotional, that's twice everything. And so it's really not for the faint at heart. But my coming out story was hard. My coming out story was romantic. My coming out story was earth-shattering and life-changing. And it's some things that I would regret, I do regret, and it's other things that I don't, that made me the person that I am today. I love being a lesbian. However, I am female and I am black before I'm a lesbian. My sexual orientation does not make up who I am as a person. Not one bit. I hate saying strong, but I am a resilient woman who is educated, who is smart, who's beautiful, and have so much to offer the world before I am lesbian. And one thing with people's mindset from where I come from, they feel like when you come out of the closet that's what's flashing first. No, me being a tall, sexy black woman is what's first, not my sexual orientation of who I sleep with in the bedroom. And that's how I was able to overcome a lot of the hurdles that I endured with coming out, and even with my salvation, is that my sexuality is last on the list because I am everything else other than just a lesbian. I have so much more to offer. I love science. I love astrology. I love Christ. I love cats. You understand what I'm saying? I love cars. I love driving motorcycles. My dad raised us up on motorcycles. You know, I have interest in gardening. I write. I love erotica poems and books. I love to read. It's so much more to me other than my sexuality. However, my sexuality is important. However, I don't feel as though it's the same as the color of my skin. I can't help it. And let's say I can help it. I will be miserable. I'll be depressed. And who wants to suffer in a heterosexual relationship and I end up hurting myself? Why suffer when my wife is 40, about to be 41 next month? I'm 30-ish, okay? We're grown adults. What does it matter? What you eat don't make me poo. So I don't really understand why things have to be so hard for people who come out of the closet. Now, one thing I will say, if you are living with your parents and you are not taking care of yourself, you're not paying your own bills, please, please, please hold it. Play the game. Do not come out if you don't have a plan B. If you don't have nowhere to stay, if you don't have a job, if you don't have anything that can assist you with taking care of yourself, do not come out of the closet, especially if you have overly hypersensitive Christian parents, if you have parents that speak ill intent, that have hatred in their heart about a certain demographic of people. Do not come out of the closet, because just because you are their child is very sad, but they may not love you in turn right away. That may have to be a relationship that you work on and that you repair, but do not come out of the closet. Now, if you are a teenager and you have parents who are very loving and caring, who don't really care, who are like hippie or free will parents, then that's okay. But if your parents are strict, do not. If you lean and depend on them, more gay people have gay families. And what I mean by gay families is when you start going to these gay clubs like me, or let's use my wife for example. My wife is 40 years old. And if she was a person that still goes in the clubs all the time, 9 times out of 10, when you see other gay people who wearing the same clothes, really skinny because they don't have food and things like that, you're still a great person. You're drawn to help them. So you become a gay mom or a gay dad where you have children that are gay like you, but they don't have a family. And so you, on holidays, y'all celebrate holidays, birthdays, just like any normal family, but your gay mom is a lesbian or trans or whatever. That's what you call a gay family, because it's so many people who do not have a regular family, a biological family. So in the gay community, you have gay families. And it's, people don't play about their kids. I'm here to tell you, people do not play by their kids. Unfortunately, I didn't have to go that route. You know, once they got over the initial hysteria, they were fine. They were fine. I fight somebody about my folks, okay? I love my people. They came around. They did. I love them dearly. This is not a bash session. This is just my truth in regards to my experience. I would just basically tell anybody to be yourself, but be yourself in safely, and be yourself when you have the means to be yourself. And that goes for people who are young. I just say, if you're out there and if you don't have friends like I had friends, or if you don't have family like I had family, please leave a comment, DM me. I have no problem with, you know, hooking you up with therapy, with, you know, outlets for therapy or anything like that, because I know it's hard. I've been in and out of therapy since I was 20 years old. And so sometimes you really have to do what's best for you when you can't come out, or when you're having a hard time with family, or when you're just battling internally about what's right and what's wrong. I don't know, you guys. My coming out story is so much to it. So I'm just gonna stop it here and just hopefully this helps someone. My coming out story, my first experience with women. If you have any questions, leave your comments down below. Happy Pride Month. And as I always say at the end of all of my videos, if no one told you that they love you, know that I love you and that God loves you. And you have a great day. Bye.